Remember the wait times at the HCA East Florida Hospital emergency rooms? Average in the single digits, less than 10 minutes. Just go to hcaeastflorida.com. List all their wait times there for all their emergency rooms, and they update them every 30 minutes. So you'll be ready in case of an emergency because emergencies do not wait for appointments. We're so pleased to be joined by one of our other favorite guests. Antoine Colette is the French brand portfolio specialist from the Southeast United States and the Caribbean for Co-Brand. Good to see you.
Jimmy, nice to see you again.
This is spring, and that means that it is rosé time.
Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. You know, that's
Love
why
the
we actually brought
rosés.
different varietals of rosé, different part of France, you know, and as you know, in France, rosé is one out of three bottles that's been drank. So getting more and more popular in the United States. So
Every time you walk into a good wine store, you see a whole
You
wall
see
now
more
of
and
them.
more, right?
it's like real estate, getting more and more buildings.
Right.
You know?
Now, just so people understand, you can really make a rosé out of any red wine. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's why you have Cap Franc with Bouvet, and you have Pinot Noir with Maison Louis Jadot, and then you have a little bit of a blend with Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, and with the Southern Rhone.
Right. Sparkling rosés versus still rosés. It's just a matter of style about what you want to drink.
Yeah, and I think when you can find a really good quality sparkling with a good value that versus champagne, for example,
Right.
it's an easy way to go, and for festivities is what you like to offer. But rosé on everyday meal for lunch or dinner, especially in Florida, which is a great state to drink rosé, still red wine or rosé wine would be ideal.
And in Florida, basically because of our weather, year
Right.
round, people
Year
are drinking
round.
rosés. Whether
Yeah.
it's
More and more so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was difficult for people to understand rosé, and now everybody's drinking rosé.
Right.
I think we're also traveling to Europe, and they see the festivity in south of France, in Cannes, and Saint-Tropez, and everybody on the patio of the cafe, and they just want to duplicate that.
yeah,
you know?
we do. As far as pairing
Absolutely.
with rosés, exactly right.
I got lost in
I
thought there
did
for a
too.
second. I was like
I
putting
was
myself there.
transported to Provence for
Right.
just a second. If you wanted to pair, rosé pairs with just about anything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it depends really what you want to eat, but anything from poultry, roasted chicken. But I think rosé is great for barbecue to start with. Any grilled meat, a little saltiness to it, or even just smoked fish, for example. Living in South Florida, you can use smoked salmon or even kingfish or things like that. That's perfect. White meats. And
Right.
I didn't think about barbecue, but it
Yeah,
would be.
no,
It
it'd
would be
perfect for it,
perfect.
really.
Yeah.
It's perfect with a burger and an afternoon
Yeah.
barbecue. For goodness
Yeah.
sakes, you can do some great things. As far as the sweetness level or dryness level, you make them across the board, don't you?
They do, but eventually here today we only have dry and bone dry one.
Okay,
So
all right,
very floral, however, on the nose. But we'll see that when we taste it.
Okay.
I might as well just
Let's start.
pour it a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is Bouvet La Dubé, which was founded in 1881. It's one of the second largest producer of sparkling wine from the Loire Valley. This is made from 100% Cab Franc, as we mentioned earlier.
Thank you.
And you can see on the nose first in the color, it's got a nice kind of salmony, rusty color.
Right.
But on the nose, definitely a little bit of that strawberry, raspberry notes. And I get that a bit herbaceous as well from the Cab Franc grape.
Yeah, you do. Cab Franc, I would imagine you don't get a lot of rosé from Cab Franc.
No, not too much. I mean, we do have some Chinon in the Loire Valley. We do red Cab Franc, but sparkling, very rarely,
Right.
which is unique.
Do you, when you're approaching this, this is the sparkling wine. Is there anything about this that would make it unusual? For example, the Cab Franc. Normally, when I drink it, I get a little bit of that bell pepper kind of a thing on the Chinon or the heavier red side.
Right.
You get the same thing here.
No, not really. Here you more on the notes of raspberry and strawberries and a little bit more of that red fruit notes. But really delicate. It's a very seductive sparkling wine, very light, crisp, elegant. I would say it's a really refreshing.
I like it.
really
I
refreshing
like it
wine.
very much.
And
Yeah.
you can find this in retail for really like $13.99,
Really?
Wow.
which is not very
Man.
expensive at all.
Let me hold this
you know?
bottle up because this is
Yeah.
something you got to go to your local wine store and look for. This is an excellent bottle.
Now
of
pronounce
wine.
it again.
Bouvet La Dubé, excellence.
It is, and it is.
I can't
excellent.
do that.
You really want to put the little French accent
Yes,
in there.
right. It's terrific. It really is. I mean, I like rosé. I think it's great just to sit around and for a glass of wine you want to sip with cheese or whatever it might be. But that's an excellent one for $13 or $14. You're not going
Right.
to get better than that. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
an
having a
excellent one.
party or a big barbecue.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
That's the way.
What you can
Yeah.
afford when you bring a bunch
Right.
of people over. It's an excellent.
And you
bottle
have a
of
good
wine to
quality.
afford.
We all love, our California cab, but when it's 85, 90 degrees
Oh, my
outside and you
goodness.
barbecue,
That's right.
this is a little bit more refreshing.
Yeah, no, it's marvelous. Absolutely terrific. In fact, one of my favorite rosés I think I've ever had.
Yeah, I
I'm
like
more
them.
of a Cremant kind of a person.
Yeah.
And they become very popular in America
Well,
too.
that could be a Cremant, but it's not because we actually age this only 9 months. To be a Cremant appellation, it has to be aged 12 months.
12 months.
Yes.
But does it matter what varietal it is or any of those kinds of other
No,
things?
because you can have Cremant Bourgogne, Cremant d'Alsace, Cremant de la Loire.
It's wonderful. So it needs 12 months. This is 9 months that's aged. Okay, got it.
This is kind of unique. This is Rosé de Marsanais. Marsanais is actually the first appellation in 1987 to receive the AOC, the Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée, to be able to do a red, white, or rosé wine in Burgundy. And this is a specific vineyard owned by Domaine Clair d'Eau, which Maison Louis Jadot purchased in 1986. So first time really brought to United States. This is 100% Pinot Noir,
Okay.
and this is kind of unique. Only 75 cases brought to Florida, so very
Wow.
limited.
And what does it
touch to
retail?
This. This is probably retailing around $35, so it's a little
Okay.
bit more. But this
And
is
it's harder to find.
definitely actually
Yeah.
retail. It probably not going to find it. It's going to be for more
More
restaurant
for
only.
on-premise.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Now, when I think of a Pinot Noir, well, obviously in Burgundy, you're thinking the best Pinot Noir is going to be used for the traditional Burgundy. Is that true with this? Do they find a lesser grape to utilize for the rosé?
No, absolutely not. Actually, we have a
wonderful
designated
nose.
vineyard just to make rosé specifically with this one. And this you have a little bit more of the terroir, the unique, a little heavier soil. It's located next to Gevrey-Chambertin in the north of the Côte de Nuit. A little bit more dry, less floral, a little bit more earthy in terms of notes.
But very easy drinking.
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
And this, I would imagine, would be a very good pairing wine, this, because I think it's got a little more acidity than the
For me,
previous
this
one.
lamb chops is one of my favorites.
Ah.
Rosemary, lamb chops.
Yes.
Just a little bit of that herbs, and also maybe some grilled vegetables, and
Right.
with a little savory.
See, just
I'm
become
hungry.
inventive
Yeah.
with wines, and don't be afraid to try and taste and invent and find your great new pairing that you're out there. You're right. You're sitting out there with a lamb chop, and you think, well, maybe a Great Merlot or something of that nature. But this is a terrific pairing, and
Right.
it sounds wonderful, and the wine is terrific. Again, probably in your mid-30s, but you can find it in a restaurant. Probably. Let me hold up this bottle as well, so maybe you get a better view of it. Go into your favorite restaurant, find this on the list.
And we'll
Name?
post these on Instagram
Yes.
and Facebook as
Right.
well. So
Give me-
Restaurant that will carry that here in Brickell would be probably River Oyster Bar.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So great with seafood.
great with
Yeah,
oysters.
I bet it would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's wonderful. A great bottle of wine, too. All right, so rosé season in South Florida is here. We got one more to taste. And this is a blend of a couple of grapes, is that right?
Absolutely. So the uniqueness about the Southern Rhone is that we use Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre, like we have in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And Prieuré de Montésargues is actually owned by the Richard family, which owned Château-Lannert. Started in 1102, which was a monastery there with a water source, and so it's planted just right behind the Black Mountain in the Southern Rhone in the Tavel appellation. To be a Tavel, you have to have a certain intensity of color. It's 1 to 5. If it's
Yeah, you
too
see
light,
the
you cannot
difference
have
in
an
the
AOC,
color.
So it's really
Right.
fuchsia. It's got that really darker color. It's more for the red wine drinker because this has a little bit more tannin into the rosé, being the blend of Grenache Noir, Grenache Blanc, and
Right.
7 different varietals, all vinified separately, but really to capture all the characteristics of each grape.
So when you say Tavel, because you always hear Tavel rosé, it's based on color.
On color, absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's fascinating.
And it's
So-
the same family since 1100?
Well, no, I mean
Yeah.
it was started with the monks, and then the family actually started in 1561.
Oh, my goodness.
So-
Brand new.
Brand new,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Construction.
Yeah.
Now, how long would the vines be viable before they replace the vines in something like that?
So for the Tavel, which we own about 84 acres, to replace the vine, the oldest vine that you can find is about 50 years old.
Okay.
And the Tavel, in terms of versus Bouvet and the Marsanais and the Tavel. Tavel can be a rosé that you age a couple of years in your cellar, which is
Right.
fine. Most of the rosé you should drink it, through that year of vintage.
Right, I see,
So-
I see. So are there aging rosés or not really?
Not really. I mean,
Yeah, you want to drink them fresh?
yeah, you want to
Right.
drink fresh. I mean, it's not like Chardonnay or Pinot Noir that sometimes with a lot more aging potential. They taste a little bit more softer. They express themselves a little bit better, especially in Burgundy. But this is really like that wild strawberry, raspberry notes, a little bit that what you found in Bouvet, but a lot more floral.
Right.
Yeah.
But bone dry.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
a
it is-
bigger-
It is right.
like a bigger
It's got,
one.
it has a little bit more fruit than the second one we tried. and I think obviously drier than the Bouvet.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Again, this is really, they use a lot of barbecue, in the south of France during the summer, and Tavel is always, or charcuterie, for example,
Right.
prosciutto,
Ah.
dry sausage, things like that. Really
Right.
nice.
So 1 through 5 is the color.
1 to
basic
5.
palette.
Don't ask me what is 1 to 5 because that's the designation of the wine. I'm not there to decide on the color,
So,
but
so they make it, they hold it up and say,
I
yeah,
guess
two.
they have an eye contact on the wine and be like, okay, this is good.
They're like, this is right.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, now you say the middle wine that we tried is one that you find mostly in restaurants, only 75 cases
Yeah.
transported to the United States. What about the other two? Will I find this in a
Yeah,
retail
you can
shop?
find Puyo de Montezarga a little bit more now because we took over the brand about 2 years now. So we'd start depleting maybe El Carajo, for example,
Mhm.
it's down the road, so
Sure.
where you can find some really good wine there.
Yes.
Bouvela du Bay as well, but yeah, a little bit more accessible.
Well, if you're not tried rosé, go ahead and do it. And you know, it's funny. I've been places where I've been with a group of people that say, "What would you like? A rosé?" And I'd order a regular rosé. I'd say, "There's no bubbles." Well, no, it does
Yeah,
take sparkling
yeah.
and non-sparkling. I mean, just like any other one that you're going to purchase. But these are 3 excellent choices for you. And it's not the average everyday rosé. Why do you think Americans now are drinking more rosé? We're just improving our palate.
Well,
We like
also,
the color?
No, I think that first of all, the rosé that was showcased in the United States was really like white Zinfandel, which was not really a wine for
Right.
anybody who was in the wine making technique.
Right.
But and this is kind of going away, and now I think the palate of people and the knowledge is coming along, and they know what they want, And I think Whispering Angel, which was a big brand at the time, really put the rosé on the map in the United States. When you think about 2010, you would sold 400,000 cases in the entire United States. Now you're about at 1.6 million cases.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it went
Big
a
jump.
big jump.
Right,
yeah,
you've multiplied quite
so
a bit.
they are drinking rosé now.
All right, well,
For
good,
sure.
good to hear. I'm so glad when I go someplace and no one says I'll have the white Zinfandel. It's really
Oh.
pleasant.
Yeah, you know what? I
pleasant
hadn't heard that word in a long
long
time,
time.
which is
They
a
hurt
good
our
thing.
feeling really when we hear it, to be honest.
taste. Right, and that was a mistake too. They accidentally, they took the grape, the skin off of the juice too early and said, "Well, we messed up."
And on top of that, it was super sweet.
Yeah.
So everybody think rosé was sweet at the time, but now it's not the case.
No.
So,
Again, you
Well,
can
and they thought that the Zinfandels was white instead of red.
Right.
Where a true Zin is.
right.
yeah.
Well, how many times you've been someplace and said, "What's your favorite rosé?" I really like a Zin once in a while. You like that white stuff? No. It's actually red. It should be red. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be white. So again, when you come to rosé, you can get dry, you can get sweeter ones. These happen to be 3 dry expressions of it, sparkling and non-sparkling as well, from all over the world. Really, I mean, people are making rosés from just about every variety. aren't they?
Australia, Spain, yeah,
They're-
Italy,
Right.
all over the place.
All over the
Right,
place.
it's a lot different than it used to be. I've always wondered though too, in California in the early days, you'd once in a while get a rosé of Cabernet. There was a company called Firestone that used to make a
Oh yeah,
rosé
Wow.
of
I remember that.
Cabernet.
brand.
Yeah.
that? And it was an easy drinking, quaffable wine.
Yeah.
But I always thought, gosh, are you taking your good Cabernet? That's the question I asked you about Pinot Noir and Burgundy.
Well, I think in California, what they do is sometimes they get a small allocation of 50 cases. It's the remaining of the leftover of Cabernet or Merlot, Pinot,
Okay,
and they make a
okay.
specific name for it. And it's like, okay, you have a small appellation, small classification. We only need 50 cases. First come,
Let's
first
do a
served.
Right.
rosé.
But the price is always jacked up too,
Right, of
because
course.
California land is expensive and
Yeah.
they make it special. So I think there's a lot of diversity where you can find a really good value rosé, from France or Italy or Spain, really depending on the style and the quality of wine.
Yeah.
We've got a minute and a half left, but I'm always fascinated by your background. You were born
I
in
know.
Champagne.
Yeah, I was born in Champagne, and so I always say I was born in a bubble. But Champagne is definitely a great prestigious region to live and to understand the wine technique. It's a luxury. I think Champagne is always, it's not a spirit, it's not a wine, it's really a moment in your life, because Champagne is always a product that
celebration
you
of
celebrate
some-
for a special event or a
Yeah.
birth or whatever it is.
Occasion, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a separate classification. Do you get any really great rosé from
Oh, you get
Champagne?
a lot. A lot of brands that I don't represent that I like.
But there's some good ones out
Yeah,
there.
and we do some
We
still
won't
rosé too
mention
that is
those.
not brought to the United States, which is called Dericy. It's a small village between Epernay and Reims. that they make. When I go back to France and I go to Champagne, I always drink some rosé.
If I can only crawl in your brain and learn about
I
10
know.
words that you've got inside that thing about wine.
I
Hey,
know.
thank you so much. We really
No,
Thank you for
Brenda.
coming
It was a
back. It's
pleasure seeing you.
always
Thank you very much.
wonderful.
Co-brand.
Jimmy?
Our favorite people are from Co-brand.
Thank
I
you.
know. Oh,
We're going to get back with more.
Cheers.
Miami.com. Would you like to change your email? I got a great idea for
Yeah.
you. Straight ahead. Eat this, drink that.
go.